Greetings, St. Barnabas members and friends. So, while our worship services and all of our gatherings are suspended during this coronavirus outbreak, it's my intention to offer a brief and hopefully daily meditation. And the goal of that is for us to be together, me as your rector, and for us to be here in our sanctuary and to be using the resource of our Book of Common Prayer. It's my hope that that will strengthen you, encourage you in your discipleship, encourage you in your sense of your connection with your church and your God, strengthen you in that sense of connectedness. So on the one hand, we can't draw together physically, but on the other hand, we can be together in this way. And as you know, our church is looking for many ways to be together through recordings and through the live stream, and in that nurture our connectedness, nurture our love, and our commitment to our God, and to be strengthened to serve our world. So, one of the good things about a video like this is that you can pause it at any time and take a little break. So I encourage you to do that, to get your Book of Common Prayer. And if you don't have a Book of Common Prayer, no worries. You can access it online at bcponline.org. And in the coming days, if you'd like, we're happy for you to come to our sanctuary and borrow a prayer book from the pews. We're hoping to have a box of prayer books just outside the sanctuary on the bench, so you can check there. And if there's one there, please feel free to borrow that. And if not, please make your way into the sanctuary and borrow one from the pews. One thing I request, if you do that, please don't come by the office. Our office staff are here, but we're doing everything we can to protect them, to help them stay safe and healthy. So unless you have an urgent need, we're asking people not to come by the office. So, in the Book of Common Prayer on page 137 begins 4 different forms of prayer to be used during the day at 4 different times. And each one is just one page, just a one-page form that can be used for the morning or at noontime or in the early afternoon or at the close of the day. And I strongly commend these forms to you, and if at all possible, I encourage you to use these forms at least once, if not more, each day. And again, that while we can't gather, this prayer form from our rich Anglican Episcopal heritage would be a strength to you. As these daily meditations progress, I'll make more comments about the prayer book and how we can branch out from this simple form to enrich it. So, each of the forms contains the Lord's Prayer, and in fact, virtually every liturgy in the Episcopal Church contains the Lord's Prayer. So, when the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Lord, teach us to pray," this is the prayer he gave them. And it's found one other place, and that is Matthew's Gospel at the center of the Sermon on the Mount. It is the only extended teaching from Jesus that we have, the extended teaching on prayer from Jesus in the Gospels, and so there's good reason it's the cornerstone of prayer in our prayer book. So, the Lord's Prayer begins with the word Abba. That's Jesus' word for God, Abba or Daddy. Now, let me say right away that for some people in our time, the word Abba or Daddy is not a helpful word. So, I want to encourage you. The idea here is to name the relationship that Jesus models for us with God. So Jesus' relationship with God, we see this relationship of the profoundest possible intimacy deep closeness, relationship of tender, loving care and closeness. And Jesus describes that relationship as daddy or Abba. I want to encourage you, whatever word would work for you. And then when Mary Magdalene meets Jesus after he rises from the dead, she meets him in the tomb. And Jesus says to Mary, "Go to my brothers and tell them, I'm ascending to my God and their God, to my Father and their Father." Jesus is indicating that the relationship with God that he's modeled for them throughout all their time with him, this God that Jesus has called Abba, he's saying to them, now this relationship is available to you. As he rises and ascends and then sends the Holy Spirit into the heart of all of his followers, he is giving them this possibility of this same deep, intimate closeness with their God. Now, I suspect much of what I'm saying is a reminder to you, not something that you've never heard before. And at this time, maybe we need this relationship as much as we've ever needed it. In this time of fear and uncertainty, in this time when we're all realizing our fragility individually, the fragility of our families, the fragility of our social network, the fragility of our economy, as all of that is coming upon us, for us to know that we have this God who dwells in our innermost being, the God who created us, who sustains us, who loves us with a boundless love, and who's right there waiting for us to sink in and draw near. That we could be with this God and feel deeply connected, deeply known and loved, and that would give us the strength we need to live in this time of uncertainty and fragility. So I commend this to you. I commend this to you. In these 4 forms, beginning on page 137. So, whatever time of day it is for you, the form that meets that time of day, I would encourage you to pause for a moment. Before you begin, take a breath, maybe a few breaths, and with each breath, sink deeper into your innermost being. Let everything go, all the concerns. Let them all go. Sink into this God who is there near to you. And then come out and say this form of prayer. Say this form of prayer. Let it be a strength to you. Feel connected. Be connected. Be strengthened in your faith, in your relationship with your God. Amen. Amen. Hope to see you tomorrow.